When you discontinue watching this video, please tell me what the reason was that you stopped looking so that I can improve. Otherwise, hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn medicine, today battered babies, and after we've done it, we're going to do shoulder impingement training. And if you participate in the shoulder impingement training, then is that at your own risk. And we're talking about abuse of children. And this is no legal advice, no medical advice, so I don't know what this is medicine. So we're talking about abuse of children, and that is the second part to it. Now we're trying to go over it and make a little explanation of the things which we learned here. We're trying to memorize it. So, battered babies. At least 1 in every 100 children born is, at one time or another, physically abused, sexually molested, or severely neglected. Okay, that book is from the 70s, and it is a British book. As background information. Okay, 1%, at least 1% are physically abused, severely neglected, or sexually molested. These are the so-called battered babies, and generally it is their parents who are responsible. About 10% of such maltreated children are killed or suffer permanent brain damage. Okay, that is the other thing. So 1% physical abuse, severely molested, and sexually molested and severely neglected. And of them, 10%, so 1 in 1,000 at least, are dying from it or getting permanent brain damage. In addition, about 1 in 10 of school-aged children living in Western cities undergo extremes of ill treatment and distress without actual physical abuse. So 1 in 10 at least, basically, we say. That is the one which we technically found, I think. So 1 in 10 are undergoing extremes. We're using the word extremes of ill treatment and distress. We're going to say that as well. Parents with problems. Now we're going to talk a bit about, because that book is technically written for its family and medical advisor, so it is the parent person reading this. So technically they are addressed. Parents with problems. Parents who abuse their children are rarely sadistic or severely mentally ill. Usually they are very young and have housing, financial or martial problems. Often the mother has had an unhappy pregnancy or delivery and was separated from her baby soon after the birth. Above all, most of these parents have had an emotionally unhappy, physically violent or excessively strict upbringing themselves. Now I just realized it, I think they're talking now about the battered babies, so the 1%. Not about the 10%, maybe both. But we're also saying here now in the next place, however, child abuse can also take place when none of these problems is present. So we want to say that at one point very strongly that it can be also if no one of these problems is there. And I think we mean the 1% of it, whatever. But let's look if we are able to say that often it is the case, not because of sadistic reasons or because of mental illness, but because, what we're saying here, we're preparing a presentation here. So what are we saying? Because of financial problems, housing, financial or martial problems, marital problems, and also because of unhappy pregnancy or delivery, and was separated from her baby soon after birth. I don't understand that part. If I separated, why is now the abuse happening? Okay, we're having financial, housing, and marital, so in the marriage problems, let's say marriage problems, and also it can be also unhappy pregnancy or the delivery. But also, if none of any of these things have happened, it can be that these problems of battered children are happening. It can be caused, for example, by exhaustion brought up on by lack of sleep. Exhaustion of a parent or lack of sleep can also bring it on. Any parents who are fearful that they might injure their child should immediately either seek help from a friend or a sympathetic relation, or telephone the health visitor or family doctor, a minister of religion or NSPCC officer, a local pediatrician, a local authority social worker, or your local Samarians. If the first person contacted fails to provide help, another should be tried. It is interesting. We've never written that before in that book, saying you should try again. An elaborate system involving social and medical workers has been devised to try to halt child abuse once it has started. So the book is from the 70s. It can be that it's already way more known already. System. In some cases, it is decided that for the child's sake, it is best for the parents and the child to be separated, temporarily or perhaps even permanently. How you can help other people around. You may suspect that a child in your neighborhood is being abused by its parents without actual proof. In this case, you should discuss your suspicions in confidence with a responsible person, such as an NSPC. Where are they for? I don't really know what it all is. Now, the book is from the 70s. It can be that all the legal manners and all that has all changed, and again, but it's from Britain, so it can be completely different. They are saying it should be done in confidence, written in cursive letters. That seems to be a legal term. To an NSPCC officer, a child welfare officer, or your local doctor. For legal reasons, you should never discuss your unproven suspicions with your friends, neighbors, or the parents themselves. Okay, we're going to say that you should not do false accusations against people. That would be illegal. It is not okay. We're going to say something along the line like that in our presentation. You are not allowed to make false accusations against people. Maybe even to spread rumors, but again, I don't know the legal situation, and this is no legal advice. But you should try to get someone with whom you can speak in confidence, like an NSPCC officer, a welfare officer, or a local doctor. Let's say just the local doctor thing. Rather just one thing. I don't know what the other two really are, which people understand, and they can think on that they should try second person. They also the people who notice something in confidence, and then doctor might be a good example. Okay, we're going to say you cannot make false accusations against people, but you should try something and you should speak to a person in confidence, like a doctor or a welfare officer or an NSPCC officer. Okay, we have that now. We have battered babies. We're going to first say 1 in 100. Or do we say that at the end? Let's say that at the end. And make a listing. Battered babies, that they are physically abused, sexually molested, or severely neglected. And if person, and the reason for it can, and mostly of the time it's done by the parents, and the reason is not sadism or mental illness, but that they, I don't know the word for it, but we're not able to handle the situation, technically. But we're having housing, financial, or marriage problems, or an unhappy pregnancy, or an involuntary pregnancy, or an unhappy pregnancy and delivery, or an emotionally unhappy, physically violent, or excessively strict upbringing themselves. We try to name them all three. Emotionally unhappy, physically violent, or excessively strict upbringing themselves. And it can get worse if they are exhausted through a lack of sleep or something. And having lack of sleep. If a person thinks that they might, no, I need the word, that they are overstrained by the situation, they should try to seek help by a doctor, a minister of religion. Let's try to say these two, maybe three things. A doctor, a minister of religion, a local Samaritan, a pediatrician. And if they're not able to do it, they should try it again to get help. They themselves for them, technically, so they don't do harm to others. And there is efforts done to build a better and better system to help the parents not to harm their children and to save the children from harm from their parents, which can involve temporary or permanent separation. If someone might think that this is them, they are of course not allowed to make false accusations, but they should try to speak in confidence to a person where it is possible in confidence, like a doctor or a welfare officer or an NSPCC officer. 1 in 100 children is suffering at least, that is he said, but physically abuse, severe neglectance, or sexual molesting, and 10% of them are suffering death or permanent brain damage, and 1 in 10 children, I was saying, are undergo extremes of ill treatment, are undergoing additionally undergoing extreme cases of ill treatment and distress. Ill treatment and distress without that physical abuse is happening. Okay, I don't have really time. I'm going to start the camera and I'll try to say that. Battered babies. This is about the abuse of children. Battered babies. That are babies which are and it's mostly done by their parents, physically abused or sexually molested or severely neglected. And the reason for that is, it is mostly done by the parents, is not that in most cases that the parents are sadistic or mentally ill. It is that they are having for most cases when they are found having a case of financial or housing problems or marriage problems or an unhappy pregnancy or delivery. And it can get worse if the parent, is exhausted, has lack of sleep or something. If the parent thinks that they are overstrained by the situation, they should seek help by a doctor, a minister of religion, a local Samaritan or someone. And if they're not able to get help, that they don't harm their child because they are overstrained, because they are exhausted, they should try it again to get help. And if a person sees that a child maybe is suffering from the parents, they should also try to help the child. And they are of course not allowed to make false accusations, but they should try to speak in confidence with a doctor or a welfare person, an NSPCC officer or someone. 1% of children at least is written in this book and that is from the 70s in Britain. 1% of children is at least some of these battered children who is physically abused, sexually molested or severely neglected. And 10% of these 1% are suffering death or permanent brain damage. And additionally, I was saying that 10% of children are suffering extreme causes of ill treatment and distress without that physical abuse is happening. So 10% of children are not physically abused, but they're still suffering extreme cases of ill treatment and distress. And that is according to Keith Hodgkin's Family Medical Advisor book on the page 89, but this is no medical advice or legal advice or something else. I'm going to stop the camera. And that was the medical part. If you were here for medicine, you can go directly to the next part of medicine. If you stay here and participate in the short and pinch thing, then it's better, obviously. We don't have enough time left. So legs are standing, shoulders wide apart, and we're doing shoulder circles. We're going back with the shoulders up and front and down. Again back and front and down, and not backwards. Front and front, back. And now long arms with strong fists and go as far back as you can with the shoulders. High up and front, down, again back, up, front and down. And now up, to back, down, front, up, back. Now, the long arms with strong fists and go with shoulders down and together and turn the arms to the inside. The shoulder blades into the rib cage. Arms to the outside, shoulders still down into the rib cage and together. Arms to the inside, shoulders down and together. Arms to the outside, shoulders down, together. So just the arms up, shoulders up, all only if it is painless. And again the arms up, shoulders up, and down. One more time. Arms up, shoulders up, and down. Another pretzel cut, arms together into the outside. Just one more time. And now one arm in front. Pull the arm in, so half a shoulder back and the shoulder down. Pull the arm in, half flat fingers, try to relax the arm, go it back with the shoulder and turn the palm up to the sky. Another arm in front, shoulder back and down, pull the arm and have that fingers, try to relax the arm, go with back with shoulder and turn the palm out of the sky. That was a shoulder measure day. A short one. I thank you very much and